You've seen it, I've seen it. You look at a picture and you just know that's gotta be photoshopped. It's a phrase we use all the time. But how in the world did one piece of software get so big it literally became a verb? Well, that's the incredible story we're digging into today.
Yeah, I mean, the dictionary has a definition for it, sure. But to really understand how a brand name became a common, everyday verb, we have to hop in a time machine. We're going back to a time when changing a photo like that was basically science fiction for pretty much everybody.
So let's set the scene. It's the late 1980s. If you wanted to professionally tweak a digital image, you couldn't just, hop on your home computer and start clicking around. No way. It was a super complex, incredibly expensive process, and only a handful of people could actually do it. I mean, just look at that number, $300 an hour. And that was then. In today's money, that is way over $700. We're talking about massive specialized hardware just to do simple touch-ups. It was a completely different universe. And then, bam, this number shows up. A one-time payment of $895. All of a sudden, all that insane power wasn't locked away in some high-tech lab. You could have it right there on your own Macintosh. The entire game was about to be rewritten. So where did this industry-shattering tool even come from? You'd probably guess it came from some huge, sterile corporate lab, right? But the real story, it's so much cooler than that. It all started as a little side project between two brothers. So let's meet the guys who started it all, the Knoll brothers. It kicks off in '87 with Thomas, a university student, who writes a little program called Display. It did exactly one thing: show grayscale images on his screen. That's it. But his brother, John, who was working at the special effects powerhouse Industrial Light and Magic, saw it and thought, whoa, this could be so much more. He's the one who really pushed Thomas to make it a full-on image editor. And their first big break? Bundling just 200 copies with a slide scanner. Talk about humble beginnings. And man, things moved fast. This timeline really lays it out. 1 year, it's a passion project. The very next year, Adobe's got the license. 1990, it hits the Mac, which was huge. But 1993, that was the real explosion. When it came to Windows, it was game over. Photoshop was on its way to global domination. Okay, so Photoshop is out there, it's a success, but that was just the appetizer. There was one feature, one single idea, that was about to make it totally, completely essential. A feature that would unlock creative freedom for everybody. So what was it? What was that secret sauce? The one thing that made Photoshop the absolute, undisputed king of the hill for every artist, designer, and photographer on the planet? The answer came in 1994, and it was so simple, yet so revolutionary. Layers. The concept is just genius. Imagine stacking clear sheets of plastic on top of a photo. You can paint on one sheet, add some text on another, and tweak the colors on a third. And the whole time, your original photo underneath is totally untouched and safe. And this is what made it such a game changer. It's something called non-destructive editing. And that might sound technical, but what it really means is freedom. You could finally just play, try stuff out, add text, delete it, change a color 100 times, and never ever have to worry that you were going to mess up your original picture. It was a massive deal. So as Photoshop's getting more and more powerful, the world around it is changing too. The next big evolution wasn't about a new filter or a new tool. It was about how we even get our hands on the software itself. And this right here shows that massive shift. You might remember this, right? We went from the Creative Suite, where you'd go buy a big box with a disk in it and you owned that version of the software forever, to the Creative Cloud in 2013. That was the jump to a subscription model. And yeah, it was a little controversial at the time, but it totally changed the software industry. Now you get constant updates instead of waiting years for the next big release. But for all the amazing technology, for all the sales success, Photoshop's biggest legacy might be something else entirely. It's how it broke out of the professional design world and planted itself firmly in our culture. It just got so powerful, so dominant that the name of the software became the verb for the action. I mean, think about that for a second. That's the ultimate sign of success, right? When your brand name is literally what people say they're doing. And here's the really ironic twist. The whole world is saying photoshopped, but Adobe's own lawyers, well, they're not fans. They actually tell people not to use it that way. And they have to. Legally, if a trademark becomes too generic, just a common word, A company can actually lose the rights to it. What a wild problem to have. So let's just think about where we started, a side project in a PhD student's room. That little project grew up and completely reshaped our entire visual culture. And it leaves us with this huge question, especially right now with AI getting into the picture. What even is a real photograph anymore? The line is getting blurrier every single day.